Hi everybody, Mike Fondi with Zillow Properties. Here with Geoff again today.
How's it going, everybody?
In an effort to try to bring some useful information to you guys, Geoff and I thought we'd talk a little bit today about the start of the search process when people are looking for a property, which is geared more towards buyers, but of course if you're a seller you want to know what buyers are doing, so if you're a seller, listen up as well. So Geoff, we were talking earlier, and I know you ran some stats on where people's property searches are beginning, so maybe you can tell me about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, as anybody would expect, everything's online these days. The latest numbers from the 2016 NAR, which is the National Association of Realtors profile, basically said that 70% of all buyers end up finding the agent that they're going to work with online, which is a pretty good number, 7 out of 10. What's even more surprising is actually 75% of all sellers these days are finding their agent online. And breaking those numbers down a little bit further, talking more about buyers, we have a situation where about 84% of buyers these days are finding homes. Their first step is basically either talking to an agent or searching online, and that number breaks down. It's actually 51% of the buyers start their search online, like you'd expect. And 33% of buyers these days are actually calling an agent first. Now, that doesn't mean they don't go online after, but they're calling an agent first. Sure. That's 84%.
Online searches, you and I, let's talk a little bit about Zillow and Trulia, because that's one people seem to know, and of course you and I are both fans of that, but tell me kind of where does Zillow and Trulia, where does that information come from?
Well, look, Zillow and Trulia are actually both owned by the Zillow Group. There was a merger last year. It started the year before that. Zillow's the 800-pound gorilla, right? Most people do use Zillow and Trulia, or both, or some use Realtor.com. But to answer your question, they are provided their data from a number of sources. They do have an agreement in place with our Association of Realtors here, but there are also abilities for homeowners to post stuff. There's abilities for agents to actually post things that are not in the MLS, which, look, it's a public process, it's a website, but the data that they do get is pulled from various sources, which sometimes can lead to some inaccuracies.
Right, and you and I have been talking about that a lot the last couple of days. I think we've both had calls where people have called in and said, I'm interested in this specific property, and yet it's not available. Why is that? Why are people seeing properties that appear to be available and for sale on Zillow, and they call us and we have to tell them no?
Right. And trust me, we understand because we're in this business, but there's nothing more frustrating for a buyer to see a home they like and say, oh my gosh, I'm actually going to pick up the phone and call somebody. I really want to go that direction, and to find out the home's been in contract. It really goes back to the conversation that the question you just asked me about the feed. So our data in the MLS is the multiple listing service. It's the database that all agents use for buying and selling of properties. So for some reason, when data is pulled from our MLS into Zillow, and Zillow's I wouldn't call it the culprit, but Zillow, because it's the biggest one, we tend to see most inaccuracies. For some reason, when the feed comes through, there's something that just misses, right? They're not apples to apples. Sure. It comes over, so oftentimes you see a home that's already been in contract on our MLS for a day, a week, a month, 6 months, that is still showing as an active sale on Zillow.
I think a lot of those are short sales too, is what my experience has found.
Yes.
So what I'm hearing you say is it's a good idea if somebody's going to start an online search to probably reach out and call a professional and get them involved early to ask these kinds of questions.
And of course we say that, right? So the best thing to do is, if you're just playing around, if this is something that you want to look at pretty houses while you're looking at TV or whatever, you're not going to get the best information. You're going to get a lot of information. But if this is something you're serious about, if it's time for you to consider buying a home, if you need to sell your home, or just looking to relocate to a new area, picking up the phone, interviewing some buyer's agents, and understand that, hey, what you're seeing on Zillow, while it's really good and it's really fast at your fingertips, may not always be the best. Now, when I talk to my clients, and I'm sure you do the same thing, Mike, I tell my clients, hey, use Zillow, use Trulia,
sure,
but use it in conjunction with what we're talking about, because we can build you a search that is going to be the most up-to-date search.
Absolutely.
That is not up-to-date on Zillow. Now, you can go outside your box or whatever, but a search in conjunction with playing around on Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, that's the best way as a buyer to really get all the properties that are on the market.
Gotcha. So really a huge advantage to involving you or me in this online search is we have the most current data when they call us. You and I talked about this a little bit earlier as well. Another advantage is there are a lot of times the agent-to-agent comments, the notes in a listing that the listing agent has input into the system to give potential agents, buyers agents, a heads up as to maybe what issues or obstacles or anything specifically having to do with that property and the potential purchase of that property, that's not going to be on Zillow. That's not going to be anywhere else out there except in our MLS system.
Right. We need to have some kind of way for agents to communicate to each other that is not public information. Now, are we spilling the guts on what the seller's willing to take? No, that's of course not what's on there. But little things. There's oftentimes, Las Vegas area has a lot of homes that are rental property, investment property, and you have tenants that may not be willing to show a home. So a lot of times you see a price on a home that looks attractive. You don't have a lot of pictures on the interior of the home, so a buyer's like, well, can I get some more information?
Right.
Only for us to look at the agent-to-agent, as you alluded to, and say, there's no showings allowed. You have to write a contract in order to see the home. Now, as crazy as that sounds, because a lot of the way that these investment properties are handled, it's becoming more and more the norm. Now, would I ever encourage a client to write an offer on a property without seeing it? Probably not. But investors sometimes look purely at numbers. They're not really as concerned about the home. And the other thing people always have to remember, as a buyer, you've got 20 different ways to get out of a contract if you need to, legally, as long as we do the right thing.
Sure.
So other than spending some time putting some paperwork together literally just to see the home, there's really no negative aspect about that type of a situation. But again, that's in the agent-to-agent comments that the general public doesn't know about.
So basically, there's a lot of value in bringing a professional on up front, having somebody help supplement that search. Do we want to talk about the Zestimate in this session, or you want to save that for another one?
We can talk about this estimate, but you just hit something on the head that I wanted to make sure we address, talking about having a professional help. Look, technology is wonderful. We're doing something on Facebook Live. There's nobody behind the camera. You look great. And Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Redfin, there's thousands of apps out there that people can look for homes online. So more than ever, technology has allowed that part of the funnel to really empower buyers. However, what I always tell people, working with a professional, somebody who can work on your behalf, negotiate on your behalf, know the ins and outs of contracts, knows lenders, knows title companies, knows inspectors. Those are the things that really, as we move forward, as technology helps, that's where our value as agents can come in. Because, unless you are very astute to understanding contracts and understanding contingencies and everything like that, you could be potentially at a loss of a deposit, or maybe even more if things go down the road. We, stepping in as professionals, can walk a client through every step of the way to make sure, and that's where our value really is moving forward.
Absolutely.
So
let's save this estimate for another session.
Don't get me started on this estimate.
But so if somebody wants to get a hold of you, Geoff, how do they do that?
My phone number is area code 702-758-4699. You can also reach me at info@zahlerproperties.com. And Mike, why don't you let them know how they can get a hold of you?
My phone number is 702-606-4660. My email address is mike@zahlerproperties.com. So appreciate your time here, Geoff. This is good. I look forward to trying to bring some more information to the folks that are interested and help make their real estate transactions more successful.
Absolutely. And you know what? He teased it. I can't say it. Don't trust the Zillow estimate. That's all I have to say. More on that later. Thank you very much for watching. Have a good day.
Thank you.